Hello and welcome back. In the last lecture, we looked at the hash map class. We have said that hash maps do not maintain its order. Thus, they are not sorted in any way. So, in this lecture, we are going to look at sorted maps, which are linked hash maps and tree maps, and they actually do maintain its order. So, let's have a linked hash map here. The syntax is pretty similar to hash maps. The only difference is the word linked that comes before hash map, and the rest is the same. I'll make keys, integers, and the values strings. And I'll create a variable here, which I'll call linked hash map, and I'll set that equal to a new linked hash map, like this. And a linked hash map is basically just the same as hash map, except that it has a linked list connecting the entries of your map, which means that it maintains your keys and values in the same order that you add them to the map. Now, I'll copy this linked hash map here and paste it to make it a tree map. Again, you can create a tree map with a similar syntax as hash map and linked hash maps. So let's call this tree map. And I'll change this to tree map. Now, a tree is one of the basic structures in computing. It sorts the values that you add to it, usually in the natural order. So for example, for integers, natural order is 1, 2, 3. And for strings, the natural order is the alphabetic order, and you can define the natural order for your own classes as well. But we'll go into that in a future lecture. So here I've got two kinds of maps, and now I want to create a method with which I'm going to demonstrate the difference between these two. So I'll say here public static void sorted maps, and all the collections in Java are organized under various interfaces. In the previous lecture, we used the list interface, and here we are going to use the map interface. So hash map, linked hash map, and tree map all implement the map interface. So if you want to pass them to a method you can pass in the map interface, like this, I'll just call this map. And the map interface has all the methods you need for manipulating your maps. So let's start by adding some values to this map. I'll first press Ctrl-Shift-O to add the imports again. And we are going to use the put method, which you have seen in the previous lecture. So let's add in some random numbers. And let's have, for instance, some kind of food here, just to take an example. So I'll just copy this line and add a few more. And I'm going to put some random values in here. And here let's add some food. Let's say ice cream, pie, pizza, hamburger, fries, hot dog. Now, I have to iterate through my key and value pairs that I added in order to output them. In the last lecture, you have learned one way of iterating through maps. But here, I am going to use another way that also works pretty well. I will use a for each loop to iterate through my items. I will actually iterate over the keys or the numbers, and then use those numbers to get the corresponding food item. So the keys in this case are integers. I will declare an integer variable here to iterate over the values of the keys. I'll call it numbers, and then I'll put in a colon, and then I can say map.keyset to get the set of keys. So after retrieving the keys, I can now easily get the value as well, and the type of our values is string. So I'll say string food equals to map.get and pass it the numbers, and that will get me the food items. So the point of this map interface here is that now I can pass in any of these maps. I could say sorted maps, linked hash map. And if I run that, it will output the contents of my linked hash map in the same order that I have put them in there. On the other hand, a tree map is going to sort the keys in a natural order. So if I run this, the tree map is going to put the keys on a natural order, like this. And that's how we came to the end of this lecture. Please find this code in Resources section to practice in your own, and join me in the next lectures. Until then, keep practicing.